What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the after credit scene. We are talking predictions and forecasts for the series finale of Secret Invasion on Disney Plus, which drops on Wednesday morning. There's a whole lot of things that didn't happen in episode 5 that I really thought would. So a couple of these things are going to be redundant. We're going to go back through them. I really think they're things that almost kind of have to happen. And if I'm being honest, there's a few things that I was a little disappointed with in episode 5 that kind of made the story a little smaller, but we'll get into that in a minute. First off, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so when we drop new content, you'll be the first one to know about it. And then share this thing all across the multiverse. Before we get into it, like I said, there were some things in episode 5 that just made the story feel a little smaller than it really should have. Everything was World War III was imminent and all these other kinds of things. And then the decisions that Fury and Gravik and some others made the story feel a little bit smaller. So it changed some of my predictions, but it meant that some things I think have to be put off until this episode, and there's a whole lot of things that have to happen. These episodes are decently long, but given the time frame that we have, there's not a whole lot that's going to happen that I think is going to really change much of the universe. So maybe that's a little bit of a letdown, but let's kind of go through it. First off, 100% certainty that we're going to get a Super Skrull battle between Gravik and Fury. We saw that in some of the trailers that were released talking about the last few episodes. We still have to get some of that. Now, whether or not there are other Super Skrulls out there, I think there's got to be some others out there. Maybe Gravik has already employed some of that. Surely Gaia is not the only other person that has gotten into that machine. She has some abilities, and where she pops up again is going to be anybody's story. I think maybe that may be something that happens over here. Remains to be seen. I think you got to deal with Rhodey. I know that Fury lets the president know, whether consciously or unconsciously, lets him know that he shouldn't trust Rhodes, and that Rhodey was really pushing some things with the president during episode 5, and how that plays out and whether or not the president is really aware or not, and what goes on from there is going to be anybody's guess. But I think you have to deal with that, even if it is nothing happens to Rhodey and he gets away somehow, Rava gets away somehow, and is able to take on another alias, or we find out how long this has been going on. The story has to deal with Rhodey. I think there's a 90% certainty of that. Now, how that turns out is anybody's guess. I do think there's going to be another big reveal here. I think you got to find out that somebody else has been a Skrull the whole time, has had something going on. Maybe there's another version of Fury. Maybe Priscilla, Vara, does something that is unexpected, or maybe Gaia has been doing something all along. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there, but I'm almost 100% certain of this. This Cloak and Dagger stuff, Fury's secret spy network, there's all kinds of things there that I think really have to come to fruition that haven't. Again, this is my big prediction here, that I'm not really, these two, I'm not really sure, but I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think there's going to be another gut wrench moment. Talos dying was a big deal. They've already dealt with that. They did his funeral. They had a lot of different things going on. Wouldn't be surprised if Maria Hill pops up back somewhere, or a version of her, or some Skrulls are infiltrating other parts of the government. There's something else there that's really going to give this an, oh, I didn't see that coming. Maybe it's not until the end here. But I think there's something else that's just going to be like, oh no. I don't think they leave this as a nice, tightly wrapped, self-sustaining, standalone story, even though I have some predictions about that as well. I think Fury's definitely got a plan. All this time we've kind of seen him bumbling a little bit. He knew exactly where he was going. He called in some help. He went with Sonya to get the harvest, and he's got some other things up his sleeve here. He's a little bit back on his game, and I think there's some other things that we're going to see other than just Fury self-sacrificing himself and saying, please, Gravik, don't do anything. Don't forget what we went through. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think those are really good elements, that he still sees the kid in Gravik and he wants to make up for his mistakes, but I really think there's some kind of other plan here. I would love to see some kind of arc for Sonya in this finale. I think there's probably a 70% certainty that we get both of these things, that there's going to be some sparks here. There's going to be something go on, and I think Sonya has her own plan That very well could be some kind of after credits thing as well, where she pops up again, or some other character that we haven't seen yet. Would not surprise me if the power broker, aka Sharon Carter, we come to find out she was a Skrull the entire time, that they hadn't been talking to Sharon Carter, that we somehow connect these stories, or we get some Thunderbolts connection, something in there that would fill in some of these other gaps and really help the story move forward. Having said that, here's my big, not necessarily go out on a limb, I'm calling this one. I don't think there's any kind of season 2 here. I think this story is a beginning of a bigger story that leads into some movies, and it sets the groundwork for these things. I think the movies can really shine a light on where these characters are, but I think there's a lot of character introduction in this series. Sonya's character, Gaia's character, Talos dying off, all these other things that are going to lead into movies where when you see these movies, you have some backstory, even if they don't really develop it anyplace else. Sadly, I think the sun is setting on Secret Invasion. I don't think there's going to be a season 2, because how do you do that and keep this story self-contained, or say, oh, all that stuff we didn't solve in season 1, we have to solve in season 2, even though it has ramifications for the entire Marvel Universe, we're not going to address that. I think this moves right into the Marvels movie, and there's going to be some implications there, and all these things really have to connect with that, and it kind of springboards into something from there on. Hence the bigger elements coming. I think all of this moves into something bigger, as opposed to something that could stay small for a little bit, like Moon Knight, or other stories in that vein. Even Loki's story. He's a big character, but a lot of his story, because it's in the TVA, it's isolated. I don't think this is one of those things. I think it has to move into something bigger. 99.9% certainty there, because honestly, that 0.1% is room for disappointment, because there was a little bit of letdown last episode. I think they really have an opportunity to end on a big note here, but writers be writers, and stories are stories, and things can go in directions that we're just not sure about. So pretty certain of this, but I think other things could happen. Also, as always, we haven't had a post-credit scene up until now. Stay tuned for the after credits. There's going to be something. That may be where our big reveal is. That may be the other gut-wrenching thing. That may be the rest of these plans and these bigger elements coming. But something's going to happen here that's going to play out, that's going to have some bigger ramifications. Either this wraps up neatly with Gravik, but it has some bigger global implications. Kind of got the idea last episode that Gravik's global network was kind of faltering a little bit, that there might be a way to salvage that. I didn't really like that, because I thought it was more menacing the other way. But nonetheless, I think they could solve the imminent threat and then move into focusing on the larger threat, and really just buy themselves some time leading into something like Secret Wars, or the Marvel movie, Marvel's movie, something other out there that is going to get dealt with someplace else. But remains to be seen. I've been excited about these series before. I think this one has the possibility to be in my top 3. It's a really good story, right behind Moon Knight and Loki. I'm sure you got your own opinions about that. You can hit me up in the comments there. Tell me what you think about the series. Tell me what you think about how it's going to end. Do you have any other theories? Maybe you've caught something that I missed. Send it my direction. I'll give you a shout out in our review video next week. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share this all across the multiverse. And as always, when the next one drops, guys, we'll catch you right back here. Later.